host, Hisham Tilawi. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to be discussing a story back 46 years ago. The end of the story is yet to come. It's the assassination of John Kennedy, JFK, the American president who was assassinated on November 23rd, 1963. Most people in the United States know or believe that it was a conspiracy behind the assassination of JFK and RFK, his brother Robert, in 1968. Well, that conspiracy is still not solved, or that mystery still not solved. Why? Some people thought it was the CIA who did it. Some people said it was the Cubans. Some said it was the Mafia. But if it was any of those entities, ladies and gentlemen, we would have had it solved by now, because most of those people who were in those positions back then, they're either dead or incapacitated, where we can't do much with them even if we want to. So why the problem has not been solved? Definitely the CIA had many changes that somebody could have taken a look at that and said, you know what, it was the CIA, but that did not happen. The Cubans, somebody could have, the Cubans are not that strong to actually force our government not to investigate. Well, then we have the Mafia left. The Mafia is gone. Al Capone is gone. The good guys killed most of those people. But there is one entity that is actually still lingering there. The only entity with power to do something for 46 years to keep an investigation from taking place, that entity is still there. So who could it be? Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight the program is threefold. One, I'm going to go through a document it's about a year old. It was declassified in 2008. In the early 1960s, Israel funneled $5 million, which is about $40 million in today's money, into United States propaganda lobbying operation. There was an organization called the American Zionist Council. It was an organization that was financed by the Jewish Agency, which was an Israeli government agency. They had an office in New York. The Jewish Agency was funding the American Zionist Council. Well, the Justice Department under JFK and his brother, remember his brother was the Attorney General. So the American Zionist Council received $5 million from the Jewish Agency, which is an Israeli state agency, a governmental agency. Well, that's against the laws in the United States. So what the Department of Justice did, it went to the American Zionist Council and said, we need you to register as a foreign agent. We do have an act of Congress called Foreign Agents Registration Act. Well, of course, the American Zionist Council, they refused. The Department of Justice orders to the American Zionist Council to register under the FARA. It reads, receipt of such funds from the American section of the Jewish Agency for Israel constitutes the council an agent of a foreign principal. The council's registration is required. So the Department of Justice told the American Zionist Council, you need to register. The negotiations between the Department of Justice and the American Council goes on. They go on high gear that, well, wait a minute, they want us to register as a foreign agent. When you register as a foreign agent, the money that you receive, that you are going to give to our politicians, it's got to be local money. That means that the American Zionist Council cannot buy our politicians. This was in the 1960s, early 1960s. Yeah, they were there, and they were doing the same thing. So if the American Zionist Council registers as a foreign agent, then their political stuff has got to go. They can't buy our congressmen anymore, and they cannot afford for that to happen. So in March of 1963, the American Zionist Council memorandum of law in support of our position that the Zionists The American Zionist Council is not required to register under the Foreign Act, so now they are talking among themselves and saying, we're not required to do that. Well, the Department of Justice insisted that they are required to do that. And the things, it goes on to 1963, in May of 1963. Now remember, JFK was assassinated in November of 1963. So these are the months headed towards November of 1963. It says, finally, Judge Rifkind, which is the chief counsel for the American Zionist, which is the chief counsel for the American Zionist Council, okay? He's the chief attorney for them. He said, well, they're saying that finally Judge Rifkin raised the point that the vast number of Jews who adhered to the principle of Zionism could not understand how our administration could do such harm to the Zionist movement and impair the effectiveness of the council by insisting on registration. So registration will impair the effectiveness of the council. They can't buy congressmen anymore. They can't control congressmen anymore. That's what they're saying in the document. He appealed to the discretionary power of the department. He told them that, look, if you need, let's see if we can solve this problem. Maybe we can give you some financial statements. Well, the Department of Justice said, yeah, you can give us some financial statements. We'll make it public, but you still have to register. Well, the thing moves on to about May 23 of 1963. Well, the Senate gets into the act. See, the government could not get that organization to register, so the Senate had to get in. It takes an act of Congress to make these people do something. Well, even that act of Congress did not work, because the first hearing, nothing happened. The Senate required them to do it. They did not do it. I'm just going to go, for the sake of time, I'm going to speed it up. But this document is available, and you can go and see it. You can read the whole thing. It's fascinating of the power that these people have. Just to show you that it was not people who conspired. It was a system that conspired, and that system's still in power until today. So it goes on to, and then Congressman Donald Rumsfeld, he sent in a letter just to show how Rumsfeld was way back there. He was a congressman. Yes, it's the same Donald Rumsfeld that took us to war against a country that did not do us any harm, just for Israel. Put that letter, Congressman Donald Rumsfeld's letter, on the screen. And in his letter, he said that so the government starts putting the pressure on the American Zionist Council. All the Zionists in the United States, with all their powers, get up and gear up for the fight that is coming. So now we are in August. Remember, he was killed in November. We are in August 1963. And then in October of 1963, the Department of Justice demands for the American Zionist Council registration. Remember, October of 1963, they killed JFK, John Kennedy, in November 1963. A month after this, the Department of Justice demand for the American Zionist Council registration. It reads, the department expects a response from you. This is a letter that they sent to the American Zionist Council within 72 hours with regard to this matter. They gave them 72 hours. Judge Rifkin, who is the chief attorney for the Zionists, then made a plea for no registration, stating that it was the opinion of most of persons affiliated with the council that such registration would be so publicized by the American Council on Judaism that it would eventually destroy the Zionist movement. So now they know that if this takes place, this will destroy the American Zionist movement. Do you understand, people? If the Kennedys succeeded in making this agency register as a foreign agent, they would have been had. It'll be the end of them. they would not be able to control not even one single congressman, because there would be a foreign agent. A foreign agent cannot support political candidates. In November, 3 weeks after that, John Kennedy was assassinated. Lyndon Johnson became the president. The whole thing stops.